seen things people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian at WhisperStatus74. Welcome to the community, welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you are seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We are real tech for real people. Today's video is going to be on the DENON AV-R-X6700H. It is a 11.2 channel AV receiver for 2020. It has HDMI 2.1, or I can't really say the HDMI 2.1. There isn't say HDMI 2.1 anywhere on the box, but it does have 8K, and it does have HDMI 2.1 features, as it's only 40 gigabytes per second. Those of you from the TV world know that whole issue with the displays that are out now, but being a typical TV guy and video game guy, I do love surround sound. It is something that I have and I've had for many, many years, dating back to Pro Logic, Dolby Digital, and now I have a 7.2 surround system now. So I'll do an unboxing, but while I am an amateur audiophile, I do enjoy and must have surround sound. I'm not going to pretend to know the particulars of every little part of this receiver. I will tell you that the amount of writing on this box, as far as all the things it has, I always find funny with marketing is when you look at any like Blu-ray player, it'll tell you the 3 or 4 functions that it has. This one has like 30 on it. So we're going to go through an unboxing of it, but I want to talk about, if you're new to this channel, we're more of a tech therapy discussion based channel. I want to tell you why I'm thinking about purchasing it. This is being lent to me by Value Electronics in Scarsdale, New York. Special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zahn of Value Electronics. Please check the website below. Amazing people, amazing prices, great, knowledgeable. Give them a call, and please consider making your next AV purchase through them. They lent me this so I can try it, but my thought process on trying this receiver is to see if I want to buy it. Now, I'll tell you why and my use for it before I even unbox it and show it to you, as you can look at any video on this receiver and they'll read you all the specs, and I'll put them up somewhere on a sticker on the video. But what I want to give you is what we give you in all of our videos, or all of my videos, is the practical use of it and why I'm thinking about purchasing it. Now, the reason you see unboxing and discussion in the titles, we are going to discuss why I am thinking about purchasing this and keeping this, and why you may as well. Many of you, or a lot of you, are also into soundbars. Our channel is a TV, video game, movie community. There are plenty of audiophiles in it, but the conversations are basically surface level in regards to surround sound. Some of you guys are rocking surround capable AVR receivers. You're also using soundbars, which was blasphemy a few years ago, but they've gotten very good. They can do Dolby Atmos, whether it's Matrix or not. It's going off the ceiling. It's got the surround. In the meantime, many of us have older receivers that don't have 4K pass-through, that still have discrete, meaning DTS HD, Dolby HD, and we have non-compressed audio. And I go back to having Pro Logic, then 5.1 Dolby Digital, and then years later got into a Pioneer Elite SC55, which was a few $1,000s. I bought that right before 4K actually hit. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to have 4K pass-through, and it wasn't until, I think, a year and a half later they had 4K receivers. So buying 4K, or buying receivers in general, is always dicey, because you'll buy something and then it won't have pass-through, meaning the signal won't get through the receiver due to licensing or whatever keeps them. They can do it in terms of just passing it through, but if they don't have the licensing, then you're stuck buying a new piece of equipment. Which is challenging with receivers, though, is that the cheapest receiver in the world has pass-through, or has Dolby Atmos at $400, yet your receiver from 5 years ago that was $2,500 sounds better, is more powerful, but doesn't have pass-through. And that's kind of the problem with receivers, is even though they age, they're still extremely powerful, they still do the job, just like speakers, but you have to upgrade due to the features that pass through it. Whether it's Dolby Vision, a lot of people didn't have Dolby Vision pass through, HDR. So for me, wrapping it around this discussion, is the SC55 Pioneer Elite. Love the receiver. It's very powerful. It's a Class D amplifier, or Class D receiver, I should say. Plenty of power for those speakers. And they are older BMWs, so they do need a lot of juice to push them. It's more than I need for that size room, but Dolby Atmos isn't going to happen, and I also don't have 4K pass-through. So what I have downstairs, and you'll see if you have something similar, is a Panasonic UB820. The audio goes out of HDMI 2, audio only, goes to the receiver, and then the HDMI goes to the display. Everything else I have, my Xbox, my PS4 Pro, and my PC, are actually going around the receiver right to the display, and I'm using optical cables, which is giving me just Dolby Digital. It's fine, but I'm not getting Atmos from my Xbox or true 7.2 surround from the rest of them. And that's always been a little bit challenging, but not really worth the price of spending more money, especially since I knew HDMI 2.1 was right around the corner. So main advantages of this receiver for me, again, I will show you the specs of everything that you may like on here, whether it's AirPlay or all the other things that I'm not super interested in. What I'm interested in is surround sound. And what's been interesting over the years with receivers is it became less about power and more about having Spotify and all these other things built into it. For me, power, sound, and pass-through. So what I need is 4K pass-through, which it has. It has 8K as well. One 8K HDMI 2.1 port, though it's not full bandwidth. It's 40 gigabytes instead of 48, which doesn't concern me at all. There's also 8K pass-through, but there is only one. And we'll talk about that as we go through the back of the receiver. I rather have them all have 8K. As we know, HDMIs do fail. They do get too much use. They do intermittently not work. My SC55 has a couple dead HDMI ports. You guys know that with displays. So having just one, a lot like Samsung's TVs, is not something that we should have, but this one does have one. It does have eARC, so I'll also be using the ARC on the LG CX that I have. And also, we are looking at Atmos. So I'm going to be putting in these B&Ws. These are going to be going in the ceiling. I have 4 of those, so what I'll have is 7 channels below and 4 height channels. And that's what I'm looking to use. I'm also looking to use the pre-outs for a amp to push some other subs that are a little bit too heavy for my old receiver to push, so we'll see how those work. But mostly we're looking at Atmos, which is something that I do want. I do feel there's many titles that utilize it, especially a lot of gaming titles on the Xbox and the upcoming consoles. And also HDMI 2.1 pass-through, though I wish there was more. This does support variable refresh rate. It does support, I believe, FreeSync and hopefully G-Sync. They're all relatively the same, but not relatively the same. So we'll see if they pass that through. But worst case scenario, I'll have to go around it. But for the most part, I'm looking at HDMI 2.1 and Dolby Atmos is the main reasons why I'm looking to purchase it. What needs to happen? Well, it needs to sound better than what I have downstairs with the SC55. It should, in theory, be a little bit more powerful, but again, receivers now aren't nearly, as far as I'm concerned, as powerful as my Yamaha from 2000. I think weighed like 75 pounds. So we'll unbox this, and the next video we'll do a setup on it, and we'll do some overview, but I wanted to have a discussion on why I'm looking to purchase it. Is Atmos alone worth it? I think it is. I like the height channel effects, and HDMI 2.1 is really causing issues for many of you with your TV purchases and your gaming purchases and what you should buy. The challenge with receivers, though, is pass-through, is you want to be able to have it pass through. You don't want to have HDMI 2.1 on your Xbox. It'll run, the 4K will go through, but your variable refresh rate wouldn't go through, which is why you bought the Xbox Series X. I said Series X, not 1X, in the first place. So those features have to pass through the receiver. So quickly in the box, as I already cut it open, is you have your power cord, you have your remote, you have your antenna, and all your paperwork. And here you have your cardboard mic holder, which is for your Odyssey microphone to calibrate the distance for your speaker placement and channel level. So we'll get that stuff out of here. Kind of go down a little bit more. The receiver itself. So again, typically receivers will have the different options that they have. When I show this out of the box, I'll show you the different ones that are written on the actual receiver, which is pretty funny because there's so many. But it's pretty heavy. It's a little over 30 pounds, which is heavy for, you know, current receivers, but not for old receivers like we mentioned, like Yamahas that were like 70 pounds. But we'll take it out, shoot a little bit of it, and we'll get it set up. Now here we are out of the box. You know, I don't have really slick camera skills, but you have the drop down door. You have your zones, HDMI in the front, USB in the front, your directional, mic plugs in there as well. You got headphones, and you got the Odyssey mic right there. Source select, a little bit of dust on it. You also have this brush finish, which is beautiful. And then there is all its features, which I can always read off to you, but it's 4K 120, variable refresh rate, HDR 10 plus actually. Wow, that's nice to know, as well as Dolby Vision. And then I was joking about above your Blu-ray players, you typically have some stickers, and look how many this one has. Processing, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, ISF, Dolby Vision, HDMI, Odyssey. I always found that interesting when they would, whatever receiver or even TV you had would have these little decals that would show. But they're very elegant looking. You know, the Marantz has like a more elegant look to it, but they're beautiful. That's really all there is to show on a receiver. And the discussion was pretty long-winded. We'll be using that, and we'll round to the back side. So here we are around back. You have your usual suspects, your network, your legacy black and whites, different zones. You have your optical as well, and your pre-outs. You have your subs, 1 and 2. But you have your HDMIs. There are 8 of them in total. Now, like I said, my SC55 had, I believe, 7 of them, but they don't have 4K pass-through, so they're worthless. So a lot of us are using 4K or, HDMI splitters. This is to help alleviate that. The 4K Blu-ray player, the UBA20 will still go in this receiver directly. Everything else will be here, whether it's the Xbox PCs, and then we'll let, ARC do the rest. And hopefully that works well with the LG CX that's upstairs. So what you have here is you have your front left, front right, your center channel, your surround right, surround left, surround back right, surround back left. And that's where my receiver downstairs is limited. What it does have downstairs, because it's a 9.2, it does have the front wide and front, wide left and right. But what that needs is a separate preamp for that. And there's an issue with it doesn't really run them all at the same time. One will kick out the other. This one does have 11 channels. I believe you can go, like I said, you can go here through your surround back, and then you have the heights 1 and 2, your height right, left, and then you have your other heights here underneath. And then I believe with the preamp, you're able to add these 2 if you want to do, I think, 13 channels. Again, that's my quick knowledge of it. Might not be accurate, but I know for my purposes, I'll be using all of these bottom ones. I will not be using the wide channels. So again, we'll be using 7 channels on the bottom, 4 height channels, and 2 subs. We'll also be using a separate amp plugged into the subwoofers for some separate, more powerful subs. But that's basically the back of it. Again, you only have the one. It'd be nice to have them all be HDMI and just go straight into them and not have to use ARC. But we're going to try it. I'm excited to try ARC, or eARC, E-R-A-C. You can see, where is it? Right there. I'm excited to try it and see how it works. I know for some people it's the way to go, especially with sound bars. I'm more of an old school receiver guy, so I'm used to plugging things in and not using the display's processing for that. But that's the back of it, and that's really all there is to it. We'll get it plugged in. We'll see how it performs. Not in this video. This one's been long enough, but those are my thoughts on it. So in closing, it has to sound better than what I currently have downstairs at 7.2 from the Pioneer SC55. Like I mentioned, sometimes older receivers can be more powerful, whether the wattage, claimed wattage, which is always challenging with receivers. We'll see how powerful it is. Plus Denon will be the first Denon that I've had. I enjoy Pioneer, but we'll see how it performs. And again, we'll see how the ARC works as well on the LG CX. And if it's a noticeable upgrade, we'll be keeping it and purchasing it. But you know, it's about $2,600 as of now. Again, you can check out Value Electronics website. It'll be below, which is, you know, it's a very high-end receiver for a all-in-one. It's not a processor. It is a receiver. So it does have, it's an all-in-one. And is it the highest end? It isn't, but for many of you and for myself, it's high-end enough as it is pretty expensive. So I'll let you know how we make out with it. You'll see more videos from the displays I have downstairs, as well as my thoughts on this. I'll maybe go through the setup, not in this video, but I want to do a quick unboxing and a discussion on it. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, guys, thank you as always. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.